In the heart of the city, nestled between a hipster coffee shop and a vegan bakery, stood a fortune-telling shop that looked like it had leapt straight out of a storybook, or perhaps a bad horror film. The sign above the door, flickering inconsistently, read Madame Zara, Fortune-Telling and Mystical Services. It was the kind of place that sent a shiver down the spine of rational thinkers but attracted those with a taste for the bizarre. Alex was not a believer. He scoffed at tarot cards, horoscopes, and all things supernatural. But on this particularly dreary Friday, after a week filled with endless Zoom calls and far too much time spent staring at spreadsheets, his friend Jenna dragged him inside. "Come on, it'll be fun," she insisted, her enthusiasm infectious, even if Alex felt a reluctant smile creeping onto his face. "Fun? You mean it'll be like watching a train wreck in slow motion?" he retorted, shaking his head as he stepped over the threshold. The shop was dimly lit, with candles flickering and incense swirling in the air like ghostly fingers. Madame Zara was an experience unto herself. Dressed in layers of flowing fabric and adorned with enough jewelry to make a pirate jealous, she was a dramatic figure, her eyes glinting with a mix of mischief and wisdom. "Ah, a skeptic," she proclaimed with a theatrical flourish, pointing at Alex as if he were a contestant on a game show. "Let's see what the cards reveal." With a dismissive wave, Alex rolled his eyes. "I'm just here for the entertainment." "Entertainment or enlightenment, dear boy," she countered, a sly smile tugging at her lips. "Only the cards know." Jenna nudged him, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Go on, draw a card." With exaggerated reluctance, Alex leaned forward and drew a card from the deck, feeling ridiculous. The moment he flipped it over, laughter caught in his throat. The card depicted a grinning skeleton lounging in a hammock, a sign boldly emblazoned beneath it reading, "Doom." "Well, that's cheerful," he muttered, a nervous chuckle escaping. But his humor evaporated when Zara's expression shifted. She leaned closer, her voice lowering to a conspiratorial whisper. "This card, my dear, is a harbinger of fate. It tells of your death date," she said, her eyes boring into his. "Right," Alex replied, dismissing her words as theatrical nonsense. "And when is this so-called death date?" 7 days from now," she said with a flourish. 7 days? Oh no! Whatever shall I do?" He placed a hand on his forehead, mocking a dramatic feint. But deep down, a small knot of unease began to twist in his stomach. As they exited the shop, Jenna giggled. "See? This is why I bring you to these places. You're such a ham." Alex rolled his eyes. "Yeah, a ham who just drew a card predicting his imminent demise. Hilarious." But as the sun set on that peculiar day, the humor of it all started to fade. The next morning, Alex awoke to a bizarre series of unfortunate events. First, he spilled coffee all over his favorite shirt, a shirt emblazoned with the slogan, "I'm not arguing, I'm just explaining why I'm right." Then, in a rush to catch the bus, he managed to step directly into a puddle that was suspiciously deeper than it looked, soaking his shoes. His morning meetings went downhill from there. He fumbled through a presentation, accidentally sharing the wrong screen and revealing a hilarious meme instead of the financial forecast. While his colleagues roared with laughter, Alex's face turned crimson, and he couldn't help but feel that maybe there was something to this card business after all. By the time he returned home, feeling like a walking disaster, the knot in his stomach had tightened into a full-blown ball of anxiety. Maybe it's just a coincidence, he told himself, trying to shake off the strange feeling of impending doom. But as he looked in the mirror, he couldn't ignore the creeping doubt. That evening, Jenna insisted they go out to clear his mind. They ended up at a trendy bar, where the atmosphere was lively, laughter ringing in the air, and the clinking of glasses provided a backdrop to their banter. "You know, you should really take this seriously," Jenna said between sips of her cocktail, her voice just above the noise. "What if it's real?" "Oh, please," Alex scoffed, but the unease lingered in the back of his mind. "I'm not going to let some old lady in a shawl dictate how I live my life." "But what if she's not just an old lady?" Jenna pressed, her eyes sparkling with a mix of concern and mischief. "What if she's actually a witch or something?" "Then I'll just have to find a broom and show her who's boss," Alex quipped, but as the words left his mouth, he felt a chill creep up his spine. Over the next few days, the strange incidents multiplied. His computer crashed right before a critical report was due. He got caught in an unexpected downpour without an umbrella. He even found a raccoon rummaging through his trash, glaring at him as if he were the intruder. With each mishap, he couldn't shake the feeling that the card was playing out its grim predictions in real time. Each day brought fresh misfortunes, and Alex's humor began to wear thin, transforming into a nervous energy. On the 5th day, Jenna convinced him to visit Madame Zara again. "You need to confront her. You can't just let this happen," she insisted, her determination palpable. "Fine, but only because I can't afford to die before I pay my rent," he grumbled, a hint of humor still peeking through his frustration. As they entered the shop once more, the atmosphere felt thicker, as if the very air was charged with tension. Madame Zara sat behind her table, her expression unreadable. "Ah, the doubter returns," she exclaimed, a hint of a smirk on her lips. "I'm not here for your theatrics," Alex replied, trying to project confidence. "I want to know what this card really means." Zara leaned back, crossing her arms. "The card reflects your fears, dear boy. You must confront what it reveals." "Right, so I just need to confront my fear of dying," he replied sarcastically. "No, your fear of being out of control," she clarified, her voice steady. "You see, we often make our own doom by fearing it too much." "Great, so I'm doomed because I'm afraid of being doomed," he muttered, frustration bubbling. "Precisely. But fear not, there's a way to reverse this fate," she said, leaning in closer, her eyes twinkling with mischief. "But it won't be easy." "And what do I have to do? Dance with a skeleton?" Alex joked, but he felt a flicker of curiosity. "Not a bad idea," she winked. "But seriously, you must face the challenges I present. Outwit me, and I will grant you a reprieve." Alex swallowed hard. "What kind of challenges?" Zara's smile widened, and Alex couldn't shake the feeling that he was about to step into a world of the bizarre. The first challenge came the next day, and it was nothing short of ridiculous. Zara had tasked him with creating a new dance move, something that would enthrall the audience at a local open mic night. "Are you kidding me?" he asked, incredulous. "I can barely manage a two-step without tripping over my own feet." Jenna, however, was all in. "Come on, Alex. This could be fun. Just imagine how hilarious it'll be." Reluctantly, he agreed, and they spent the day brainstorming dance moves. As the sun dipped below the horizon, they arrived at the bar where the open mic night was hosted, and Alex felt his stomach churn with a mixture of dread and anticipation. The moment he stepped onto the stage, the spotlight hit him like a freight train. He cleared his throat, trying to remember the elaborate dance they had choreographed. Instead, he found himself flailing about like a windmill caught in a storm. Laughter erupted from the audience, and instead of feeling humiliated, he began to lean into it. He turned his awkward movements into a full-blown comedy routine, making up ridiculous names for each move as he went along. "I call this one the Lost Sock Tango," he declared, shaking his leg as if a sock had gone rogue. The crowd roared with laughter, and for the first time since this whole ordeal began, Alex felt a spark of joy. When he finally left the stage, breathless and grinning, Jenna was waiting for him, her eyes wide with delight. "You were amazing," she exclaimed, practically bouncing on her toes. "You really turned it around." And in that moment, something clicked. Maybe this wasn't just about dodging doom, it was about embracing the chaos of life. The second challenge came the next morning, and this time it was even more outrageous. Zara wanted him to participate in a local scavenger hunt, but there was a twist. Each item on the list was a metaphor for a fear he had to confront. "Great," Alex muttered. "So I'm hunting down my insecurities now?" "Yes. You must seek them out to overcome them," Zara insisted, her tone playful yet firm. As the scavenger hunt kicked off, Alex raced around the city, searching for bizarre items that mirrored his fears: a broken watch symbolizing his fear of time slipping away, a dusty old book that represented his fear of failure, and finally, a rubber chicken that embodied his fear of not being taken seriously. With each find, he could feel the weight of anxiety lifting. He cracked jokes and made light of his own fears, drawing in laughter from those around him. By the end of the day, he stood victorious, holding his absurd collection of items aloft like trophies. "Look at me. I've conquered my fears," he declared, and the group cheered. But it wasn't until the final challenge that Alex truly confronted the specter of his impending doom. Zara had invited him to a local charity event, where he would have to perform a magic trick in front of a crowd. "Magic?" he gasped. "I can't even pull a rabbit out of a hat. What am I supposed to do?" "Believe in yourself," she said, her gaze unwavering. "Use what you've learned." The night of the charity event arrived, and the hall was packed. Alex could feel the heat of the spotlight as he stood on stage, the audience buzzing with anticipation. Taking a deep breath, he began to improvise. He shared his experiences, how he had drawn the doom card, and how it had turned his life upside down. Laughter rippled through the crowd as he recounted the absurdity of his week. Then, he pulled out the rubber chicken and declared, "For my next trick, I will make all your fears disappear." As he waved the rubber chicken in the air, he felt a strange sense of liberation wash over him. He was no longer just a guy trying to avoid doom, he was a person embracing the hilarity of life, despite its unpredictable twists. In that moment, the audience erupted into laughter and applause, and Alex realized he had reversed the card's power through humor and connection. He wasn't doomed, he was alive, vibrant, and thriving. As the night ended, Alex found Jenna waiting for him, a proud smile on her face. "You did it. You really did it. And it only took a rubber chicken and a few absurd dance moves," he laughed, feeling lighter than air. As he left the event, Alex's phone buzzed with a notification. He hesitated for a moment, then opened it. The text from Madame Zara read, "Well played, dear boy. The card may have been fate, but you've proven that life is what you make of it. Go live fully." With a grin, Alex turned to Jenna. "You know, maybe that old lady is onto something after all. Or maybe she just enjoys messing with people," Jenna replied, laughing as they walked into the night, ready to embrace whatever absurdity life threw their way next. With the lingering laughter of the charity event still echoing in his mind, Alex felt an unfamiliar sense of freedom wash over him. It was as if the weight of the world had lifted, leaving behind a vibrant energy that pulsed through his veins. As he and Jenna strolled down the busy street, the night air crisp and refreshing, he couldn't shake the feeling that something had fundamentally changed within him. Where to next, fearless adventurer? Jenna asked, nudging him playfully with her elbow. I don't know about fearless, he chuckled, still trying to process the whirlwind of the past week. But I definitely feel different. Maybe we should celebrate this little victory. Jenna grinned, her eyes sparkling. Victory calls for ice cream. There's that new place just a few blocks down. They have flavors like lavender honey and Thai chili chocolate. We have to try them. Lavender honey? Alex raised an eyebrow. I'm not sure if that sounds like a flavor or a candle scent. You'll love it. Jenna insisted, her enthusiasm infectious. It's worth it, trust me. They made their way to the ice cream shop, a cozy nook adorned with string lights and quirky decor. As they entered, the tantalizing aroma of freshly baked waffle cones filled the air, igniting a sense of nostalgia that tugged at Alex's heart. He scanned the colorful menu board, each flavor more eccentric than the last. After a few moments of deliberation, he settled on the lavender honey, while Jenna opted for the Thai chili chocolate. As they stepped outside, cones in hand, a warm breeze brushed against their skin, and Alex couldn't help but smile. Cheers to surviving another day. Jenna declared, raising her cone like a toast. Cheers. Alex echoed, clinking his ice cream against hers. With each bite, the delightful combination of flavors danced on his tongue, and he reveled in the moment. You were right. This is surprisingly good. I know, right? It's like a little celebration of life, she replied, savoring her own scoop. As they wandered aimlessly, enjoying their treats, Alex found himself reflecting on the past week, the strange, chaotic series of events that had brought him to this moment. Each misfortune had forced him to confront his fears, to embrace the absurdity of life. It was a lesson he never expected to learn from a card drawn at a fortune-telling shop. Do you think it was all just a coincidence? He mused aloud, his brow furrowing slightly. I mean, the card, the challenges. Jenna considered this as they paused at a street performer who was juggling flaming torches. I think maybe it was a little bit of both. Sometimes, life throws you curveballs, and you have to learn to swing. But maybe there's also a bit of magic in it. Like, what if Madame Zara really did know something? Alex laughed, shaking his head. A mystical fortune teller who can predict doom? Sounds like the plot of a bad horror movie. Or a really good one. Jenna shot back, her eyes alight with mischief. Just think about it, your life is now a quirky comedy. You could write a bestseller. Yeah, right, he scoffed, but deep down, he couldn't help but entertain the idea. The thought of turning his bizarre experiences into a story filled with humor and heart was oddly appealing. As they walked, the city lights twinkled around them, creating a magical atmosphere. They passed shops, restaurants, and bustling crowds, but Alex felt as though he were in his own world. Each encounter, each laugh, filled him with a sense of connection he had been missing. What's next for you, Alex? Now that you've faced the doom card? Jenna asked, curiosity dancing in her eyes. He thought for a moment, his heart racing with the possibilities. I think I want to travel. Maybe take a break from the grind and see what's out there. I've always wanted to visit the Pacific Northwest, explore the forests and coastlines. Now you're talking. I could totally see you hiking in the mountains or kayaking in the ocean. Just promise me you won't get eaten by a bear, she teased. Bears? That's what you're worried about? I'm more concerned about getting lost in the woods and dying of starvation. He laughed. You'd probably just whip up a gourmet meal with whatever you could find, Jenna said, rolling her eyes playfully. But seriously, I think you should go for it. Life is too short to stay stuck in one place. As they continued their stroll, the idea of embarking on a new adventure began to take root in Alex's mind. Maybe it was time to break free from his comfort zone, to explore life beyond the confines of his routine. The next few days flew by in a whirlwind of excitement and planning. Alex found himself diving into research about potential destinations, mapping out routes, and dreaming of what lay ahead. Each night, he and Jenna would brainstorm ideas, sharing stories of their own travels and adventures, the bond between them growing stronger with each laugh and shared dream. On the seventh day, he decided to return to Madame Zara. There was a sense of closure he needed, a way to confront the woman who had unknowingly set him on this transformative path. Jenna, ever the supportive friend, insisted on coming along. As they stepped into the fortune-telling shop once more, the familiar incense wafted around them. Madame Zara looked up from her table, her expression one of genuine surprise. "Back so soon, my skeptical friend?" she asked, her tone playful yet sincere. "I had to come back," Alex said, a smile forming on his lips. "I just wanted to thank you. You set me on a path I didn't know I needed." Zara's eyes sparkled with intrigue. "And did you conquer your fears, then?" "I did. And I'm planning on taking a trip soon, to really embrace life," he declared, feeling a surge of confidence. "That's splendid. But remember, the card's warning wasn't just about death, it was about living fully," she said, her voice low and meaningful. "Embrace the adventures ahead, and don't forget to find joy in the chaos." "I'll remember that," Alex promised, the weight of her words settling deep within him. "And who knows? Maybe I'll even write a book about it. Now that would be a story worth telling," Zara exclaimed, her laughter filling the room like music. As they left the shop, Alex felt a profound sense of gratitude. The past week had been a roller coaster, but it had taught him more about himself than he ever expected. With each twist and turn, he had discovered the importance of laughter, the strength of friendship, and the beauty of facing life head-on. Jenna glanced over at him, her smile bright. "So, what's the first thing on your travel list?" "Coffee in Seattle," Alex replied, excitement bubbling up. "And maybe a visit to a haunted lighthouse, just for fun." "Oh, you're definitely going to need more rubber chickens," she teased, and they both burst into laughter. As they walked into the sunset, Alex felt ready to embrace whatever came next, knowing that life was full of surprises and that he was finally prepared to face them all. The end.